Tell me about the letter you just sent to Senator Kennedy. Why was it so important to get this on the record?
Well, we were told back in July that the NIH would start phasing out animal testing, and they haven't done that. In fact, there are still 55,000 cats and dogs in captivity, so to speak, in U.S. labs that are being tested on. And these are barbaric, these are cruel tests that are on cats and dogs. And in fact, just recently, the University of Pennsylvania received almost a $1 million grant from NIH to uh, harm puppies. I mean, these are some of the most egregious experiments you can imagine. And I want to say something real quick about the um, thing on the okay, so the one in Pennsylvania, because there's so many. The one in Pennsylvania, the almost $1 million grant, is to induce strokes in puppies.
Wow.
So we're not talking about, experiments that are soft and gentle here. These are really gross. These are egregious. They are barbaric. They are cruel, and they need not to be happening to cats and dogs.
Why do you think some agencies, some departments with the federal government get that there's alternative testing and they're moving to that, and others are just kind of stuck in concrete and don't want to move?
Well, I think that because you have different, I guess, fiefdoms, so to speak, different kingdoms or secretaries, they think they can do whatever they want. But look at the Pentagon. The Pentagon's already phasing this out. They know that it doesn't do
Mhm.
well. Secretary Hegseth has already said that. I've met with the secretary or the director of NIH and had a debate with him on why there were better alternatives out there. And he didn't want to hear it, quite frankly. And so I told him that I would be doing everything in my power, everything with my voice to expose what was going on to NIH. And I said that directly to him.
How did we discover NIH was publicly saying it was phasing out dog and cat experiments, but behind the scenes, it looks like they're still funding it?
There was a public response in July, I believe, and I think Carly on my team can get it to you, that stated that they would be phasing it out. But then behind the scenes, when you have 55,000 cats and dogs in captivity, when you're still doling out millions of dollars in grants for animal testing, the two things can't be true at the same time.
Did White Coat Waste Project involved at all in discovering what was going on?
Fantastic. Yes, most of the work that we do is hand in hand with White Coat Waste. So thank you for reminding me of that. White Coat Waste has been tremendous. They've been with us every step of the way. They've been tremendous in exposing what's going on in animal testing in South Carolina. They've done it nationally, and we've been arm in arm with their exposing of these barbaric experiments on cats and dogs.
And this group is kind of unusual. They started very small years ago, and they've grown really around the world, haven't they, to fight for animal rights?
They have, and they've exposed, like most Americans don't know. When you think about animal testing, you don't think of the barbaric ways that they do this, whether it's insects eating the faces of beagles, whether it's injecting cats with cocaine, whether it's making trans mice. Some of these experiments that White Coat Waste has exposed are just horrific. I mean, this is torture, and we're talking about God's creatures, and we know that there are already alternatives out there that are better than and don't require murdering these animals.
Why is this important to you? Why are you hand in hand with these animal animal advocacy groups and fighting this uphill battle?
Well, I've always loved animals from the day I was born. I have had a great love for the outdoors and for animals. And it's something that I've been able to take up both as a state house member and then as a member of Congress. It's also a place that doesn't see partisan lines. I like working in a space that is nonpartisan, and you get the far right, the far left, and everything in between because we all like our dogs. We all like our cats. We all like our animals and our pets. Nobody wants to see these creatures harmed.
And my last question: do you see a light at the tunnel at the end of the tunnel here? Are we closer versus years ago, farther away of just eliminating animal testing and replacing with alternative testing?
In the Trump administration, we're closer than we've ever been. We've made more progress to eradicate barbaric animal testing under the Trump presidency than any other administration in my lifetime.